All right, everybody. Scott Pierce here at Listings to Leads with the E-Gong. Going to be talking about expired listings, going after them. So we'll give it a few minutes here, let people come on. Yee, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Awesome. Let me just put in a little comment here.
It's a beautiful day. Spring is finally here.
Spring, well, March 21st, but yeah, getting better weather for sure. All right. So in this call, we're going to be going through how our clients are getting listings from expireds. So when a listing goes expired, right, which happens a lot at the end of the year, you want to get a hold of them and convert them and get them as to a listing for yourself, hopefully priced at a better price point so you can get it sold yourself. And so our clients have been doing this for years, right? The tools that we've got in Listings to Leads, from the landing pages to the PDF guides with all the marketing funnels, the postcards, the e-flyers. And then lately we've introduced the flip books and the 100-point home marketing plan that you can customize and actually present to a expired homeowner. And we got people creating these and sending these to expired homeowners to convert them. We got people printing the PDF guide for about expired listings and sending that to the homeowner and converting them. So we're going to talk through some of that. Plus, Yee, your idea about talking about affordability can be a really huge thing as well. So why don't you tease that a little bit?
Well, I just want to inject into this to help the expired, really, the homeowners. You want to convince them that you are the person, and I want to add a little bit of addendum about the financing related to marketing that particular expired listing.
Well, more so just really about the payment options, right? So we talk about rates a lot, and rates are one thing, but a lot of agents, in fact, you're doing some research and you're talking about how, people being bad with numbers can hurt buyers because they're not really explaining to the buyer different payment options instead of the rates.
Well, exactly. Well, imagine, especially in today's rate environment, if you tell somebody, oh yeah, you got a 6.5, 7% rate, they're like, okay, they think about 3%. That seems so high. But if you present it in more like affordable monthly payment, hey, you can get this house for $2,100. That creates a different kind of ringtone to their head, like, oh, that's cheaper than my rent. Maybe I can afford that.
Yeah,
Right?
and we're talking about this. Yeah, and we're talking about this relationship to the seller, and why it's important to the seller. This conversation is, we need to expand the buyer pool as much as possible. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, and buyers, they think about what can they afford. The rates are a little bit of a, kind of a thing up here in their mind, and it may or may not really represent, well, what can I get into this house for on a monthly basis? Right?
Exactly.
That's the number that is going to speak to them. And in fact, you were mentioning earlier, like, that might be something you put in a Facebook ad, right? Monthly payments low as, or something maybe.
You could get this house for $2,100 a month at 3% down. I think that will get a lot of buyers to click on that ad.
Yeah. So we're kind of jumping ahead of ourselves a little bit here because we're talking about expireds, but let's come back to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because I think just in a regular for sale ad, right? You're just listed, your active listings, your coming soons, maybe playing around with that. Talk to your lender. What is that lowest price that we can get somebody in here at, and see if that may not encourage some clicks and some good leads coming in.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So let's talk about expireds. And so, in Listings to Leads, we've got the PDF guides. We've got the different landing pages for expireds. We've got different landing pages like the iBuyer, cash offer, home value, PDF guides for homeowners like 5 Dangers of Overpricing Your Home, the Ultimate Guide to Selling Your Home, and 40 others. And so in the mastermind group, you will have seen this. And so this is what I did this is a expired postcard campaign. All right. So when new expireds come into the market, right, you're looking at Redex, you're looking at My Plus Leads or whatever source on a daily basis. So we have put this into Mailbox Power as an automation with dynamic QR codes and dynamic images on the postcard. So, for example, in Mailbox Power, when a new expired comes into RedX, and one client in particular,
Mhm.
if it's something that he wants, he will, call, confirm the email, and then he'll push it to Follow Up Boss, where we've got the same postcard, but as an e-flyer email campaign going out via Follow Up Boss. And then from Follow Up Boss, he pushes it to Mailbox Power, where we've got the campaign set up. So it's just like 2 clicks, and then we've got all of this automation done.
Oh, wow. That would make
Yeah,
it much easier to, just, market that particular segment.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways of doing this, right? You could do them as a one-off. You could just throw it into another postcard company. I mean, there's Thanks.io, there's Zaire Mail, there's a lot of others, right? But the idea is setting up these campaigns so that as you are identifying expired homeowners, that you're able to easily add them to not just an email campaign, but a postcard campaign. And so this is, and again, I'm going to walk through where these are at in listings to leads. And I am going to log into Mailbox Power, and I'm going to show you how to upload it and add a dynamic QR code so that whoever scans that QR code, you're going to be notified, even if they don't fill out the landing page. And then instead of having a generic picture, which is fine, we can put a dynamic image of their property, of their home. So it'll be a little bit more, well, actually not a little bit, it'll be a lot more relevant to the person getting it. So that'll be a lot of fun. I think I'm excited to do that. This is in the mastermind group. If you search expired postcard campaign, it'll come up. You can also get with support and they can send it to you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So when you do this mailbox campaign, how
Mhm.
many you want to target? Like, what is a good number?
Well, I would say in the beginning, I would go back all the way to 12 months, right? I mean, there's a lot of those expired in the 6 to 12 month range that they haven't sold, right?
Mhm.
I would go back all the way to 12 months. And then the thing about expired, which can be a little bit tricky with some postcard companies, is being able to add people to it on a regular basis, right? So when we first set it up, we might say, all right, let's get all of those expires from RedX or all the expires from My Plus Leads. Let's bring them in and let's start off 355 people on this campaign. But then on a daily basis, we're going to be looking at our provider. So again, My Plus Leads or RedX or whatever. And then we can just add in those new expires as they come through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like 300, is that a good number? Like if somebody doing like 50 to 100, is that too little? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you got to start somewhere. So yeah, I would say if we can do 300, because there
Okay.
might be 1,200 available.
Right.
So
But
I would
that's
whittle it down to looking at your farm area, obviously. Right. I know you don't want to take a expired listing way out in the boonies necessarily, or a price point that you're not comfortable with. And that's why most of the people that I deal with, they seem to go through and they'll just identify the ones that they want to work with to begin with. Right. Because again, on a daily basis, you're talking anywhere from, I don't know, 5 to 20. And then you'll have your saved list of expireds that you're going to call through that, you may have called once or twice in the past. But now what we can do is put them into a postcard and an email campaign.
okay.
Yeah. So that's
Perfect.
the benefit here.
Okay.
Yes, this is being recorded. Question, can you just use the MLS? No, because really at that time, the listing is not in the MLS where it's shareable. And it would be the listing agent's photo. So you'd be using somebody else's photos anyways, right? And then you're gonna have issues with that. So yeah, well, let's do this first. So let's go to landing pages. So I'm already on landing pages here. Create landing page. And we have an expired landing page. So when I click to create a landing page, go to expired, give it a name. So somebody mentioned Fountain Hills. And you can do a generic one. You can do a general one for the larger area. You could use your broker name, your name. And the first thing I want you to notice is here's the landing page. And notice that domain. So we got fountainhill.expiredsoldeasy.com. So with the landing page now, all the marketing is going to go to that domain. If you need to edit it, you can. everything here is editable. I'm not going to get into all of this necessarily, but you got the social media share image and all this. What I want to point you to is the postcards. And give it a second. There we go. So these are going to update. So whatever image you have on the landing page will be here. But again, what I want to do is I want to take this postcard and I want to add it to a campaign in whatever postcard platform I'm using. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to get the other postcards from Listings to Leads. Again, it might be for the 100% home marketing plan. I might grab a couple of PDF guides, the iBuyer cash offer landing page postcard, the home value postcard would be a great one. And then we're going to take all those and build the campaign. All right. And that way, when those new expired leads come in, I can just push them right to my poster and know that they're going to get hit up with all the different postcards. Right?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here, give me a second. So I'll just show one in this, and I think you'll get the idea. So I'm going to go, there's a download. So there's PDF and there's JPEG. Mailbox Power takes JPEG. There's front, there's back. I'm going to click download. A couple of different options here. I'm just going to download the front. And then I will go to the back and download it again for Mailbox Power. And this is so cool because to be able to have a dynamic QR code and a dynamic image, you know what I mean? That it's just so much more.
There's so much more flexibility.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm in Mailbox Power. And again, you know, whatever postcard company you want to use is totally fine.
And we have fully integrated with Mailbox Power, correct?
I'm sorry?
Fully integrated with Mailbox Power.
Well, RedX goes into Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss goes right into here. So it's literally just 2 clicks.
Okay.
So once the postcard campaign is set up, you're good to go. I mean, that's what's so beautiful about it. So in Mailbox Power, they do saved projects, which I find kind of funny. Create new, and then create new project. And then we're going to do postcards. I've done this so many times and I still get lost once in a while. 8.5 by 11. View details. Personalize. Wait, no, that's 5.5 by 11. Hold on 1 second. I want that one. So personalize. Give it a name. So I might call it expired postcard 1.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking like that's going to be the first postcard in this campaign. And then it's going to throw me into an editor here. I'll click upload photos in the top left. I don't want to be doing I don't want to be doing support and training for Mailbox Power. So I'm just kind of showing you as a courtesy. How's that? Because it is really cool. I love it. I'm going to upload the front. And I think once you see how easy this is, you won't be scared to do it. So there's the postcard. But what I want to do is I want to add a dynamic image so that when the expired homeowner gets it, they're looking at their home. All right. And then they're going to see that domain, fountainhillexpiredsolddc.com. Well, I mean, this is already beautiful. And then when they scan the QR code, I'm going to know who they are right when they scanned it. Even if they don't do anything else, I'll know who they are. So whatever information I have on them, right, which again, if you're using RedX, you should have their name, their phone number, their email. So as soon as they scan it, you're going to be able to get the phone number, call them up, have a conversation, or however you want to do that. So here we go. We're going to add the dynamic QR code first. And to do both of them, up here on the right, add empty photo. It's going to throw this box. And so we're going to put the QR code in there. But first, we're going to just size it up. And we're going to just copy and paste it. Not copy, excuse me. We're going to resize it over this one. And then I'm going to go over here and click dynamic images. There's another one. Oh, why you got to click twice. And then right here, you're going to see dynamic QR code. And I'm going to pop that in there. And there we go. The only thing you want to make sure of, and there's a little magnifying glass, you can zoom in and then move it around. You want to make sure that there's white around it, right? So anytime you're going to add in a QR code, you'll notice by default, right, when you grab a JPEG or a TIFF file, the default white will always be around it. And so make sure the same thing is right here. And that's why if you just resize like I did, you should be good to go, but do double check it. You would hate to have a QR code not work. And now we're going to do the same thing for this. We're going to replace this image. So again, I'm going to hit that same button. And then I promise you, I'm not going to be in Mailbox Power. We'll end it in about 2 minutes. But I'm going to place the holder, come over here, Street View, drag it, boom. It's literally that easy. And then right? And then I toggle to the back, upload. Right, here's the back of the postcard. And you know what you could do? I'm not gonna sit here and show it, because even by what I've shown you here, you should be able to understand. I could go grab the QR code from Listings to Leads for that landing page, for this landing page, and I can even put a QR code right here, right, in addition to everything else here. Then you're just gonna save, get your mailing list, right? Or, as we talked about, right, you'll have your expireds. So wherever, you don't have to use Red X. So wherever you're getting your expireds from, right, figure out how you're going to get them to a postcard automation, and then use the postcards from Listings to Leads like I just showed you in that automation, so that you got all the landing pages, you got all the PDF guides, right, all of the 100% home marketing plan, all the other great stuff lined up for you automatically. So that's kind of cool, huh?
Very cool. Can you explain to people what does that mean for dynamic QR code?
It just means that. So let's say the example earlier, right? We're going to start off with 300 postcards, because again, there might be 1,000 expires in my area, but I can't very well afford to send off 1,000 every month. So we'll start with 300. And so there's 300 homes. In every home, that QR code is going to be dynamic. So it's going to change to
for the specific property address.
Correct.
That's fantastic. They have a street photo.
Yep. So the photo of the property will be right there. The QR code will be unique to that homeowner. And literally it's unique to a phone number, because whatever the phone number is with the contact in Red X, right? That's what's tied to that QR code. So you're going to know it was Scott Pierce at 415-5555 and Scott at listingstoleads.com and whatever other else information you have. So even by just the scan of that QR code, you're going to know everything you need to have a call back at some point. Yeah.
That's very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very powerful, because, not a lot of postcard companies have that. There's a few that do. I think Thanks.io, if anybody knows if Thanks.io does that or not. Larry says, is it better to have the individual house on it or generic? I think it's better to have the particular home on it, because it just makes it more tangible for the homeowner, because they're looking at their home.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And they see Fountain Hill expires soldeasy.com, and they see their home. And I mean, they're already interested, right? They're curious already between the photo, the domain, and now you got a QR code that they're going to scan. I think you'll be good to go. Yeah. Will Mailbox Power place a dynamic photo of the house, or do we need to upload? No. So Soledad, they will grab the Google Street View of the property. Does that make sense? No, I tell you, we've got clients. It's so nuts. They will create a landing page for a specific expired listing. So check this out. Now, this is a little bit nuts. And you can create this entire marketing funnel for one home. So if I go to create landing page, right, add new landing page, just like before, expired. And now I say, I'm going to do 121 Tomlinson Drive, Folsom, California. So this is like, it's in my farm. It's the perfect home. I want to get it. Create landing page. I wouldn't do this for everyone. And then, right, I would just add the photo of their particular property, right, of their home. And that way everything is going to have their home in it. So when I do the e-flyer, right, I come over back to marketing tools. I don't know that I would use their home in a Facebook ad. They may not appreciate that. But I got the e-flyer I can send to them. So I can take this e-flyer and I can copy the code and drop it into whatever CRM I'm using, or I can send it out of listings to leads. Right, there we go. Right, next, so that would be of their home right in the e-flyer as well. And then you got, well, then you give them the print flyer. It's got their home on it, right? Because we got the print flyer right here, and that'll I think one or two of the versions have the home's photo on there. So yeah, but don't, especially in the beginning, don't overcomplicate it more than you need to. Yeah, set up the automation. Let the lead as a, maybe like I said, do the most recent 300, or to pick 300 from the last 6 to 12 months, 3 to 12 months, and then going forward, just drop in the new ones as they come through on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think especially the first mailing, you just want to be quick and
Yeah.
so don't think too much of it. But when somebody actually clicks that QR code, that's when you can create a custom landing page for them.
Yeah, well, that's when you could add well, what I would do? I would actually add their home into listings to leads to create that PDF. Right. That way I can create the flip book, the PDF, and the landing page.
And all of a sudden, the whole marketing plan.
Oh man, they're gonna go nuts.
Right.
In fact, I like that strategy. Hopefully somebody's writing this down and they're gonna execute on this, because that would actually be a great idea. So in the mastermind group, I referenced this earlier. So we got the expired listing postcard. That's the one that we literally just did, right? We created the landing page. We grabbed the postcard. We uploaded it to Mailbox Power. I walked through doing a dynamic QR code, dynamic image of the street view of the property that will get the postcard. Easy stuff. It's not scary. And then this is so postcard number 2. In fact, let me give you all this URL. Give me 1 second. I'm going to drop this in to, there we go. So that should be in the chat for everybody if you want to grab that right now. Or again, go to the mastermind group and search expired postcard campaign. So we got landing page. That's just the PDF guide, expired listing, failed to sell, now what? I'll point that out in a minute. This is the iBuyer cash offer postcard, right? Again, under landing pages. The 100-point home marketing plan. Then we're going to throw in, so this is just kind of a placeholder. So I want to throw in a pending or sold listing, because I want the expired homeowner to be thinking about, other listings are selling or going into contract. So I want to get whatever, I've got available that I could send them. All right. So that's going to be that one. And then we're just going to flip. Then we're going to rotate it twice. And then again, if you want to add in a couple of other postcards, like the ultimate guide to selling your home, 5 dangers of overpricing your home, there's a few other postcards for sure that you could add in. So if we go back into listings to leads, let's close that. And am I not logged in? Let's try to let me log in 1 second. I think I closed the browser a little bit ago. So I showed you where the landing page was. So for the PDF guides, just click the PDF guide tab over here. And so you talk a little bit about the affordability things. I don't want to go too long on this because that, to me, that is such a powerful thing. And relate that, we're talking about that story. I was door knocking this afternoon with that agent who was she wasn't complaining, but she's like, oh my God, my lender never gives me anything.
Yeah, most lenders sit at their table just shuffling paper to try to get the loans through, versus really help real estate agent like figure out, okay, how can I really help them sell this home?
Yeah.
Like 2-3 years ago, where rates are 2-3-4%, nobody cares. Nobody cares about lenders, right? Because everything is affordable. Nowadays, you have the rate lock-in effect, and people get nervous, like I can't afford this home. With you hear the media talking about 7% rates, and it's not going to come down anytime soon. And the reason a lot of expirers sit on the market, you know why? Well, they have bad marketing, they have bad pricing, and probably bad math. You wonder why bad math? It's because they don't have the financing sheet in the open house. There's
Yeah.
not marketing plan. There's like, we have this beautiful 100 point marketing plan for the expired. I would highly recommend have addendum, right? That shows the different loan options as like a last, even the last page, make it presentable. I think that's, to me, it's for you to really stand out. To have that is really mandatory, especially in today's market.
Well, yeah, I think again it gets back
So
to the affordability issue, right? We want to
yeah,
expand the pool of buyers available for your home. And I hate to say it, but a lot of Americans are bad at math. And so, if we're looking at if I'm randomly seeing some home for sale, and in my mind I'm thinking, oh my God, rates are X, and that home is X, and in their mind, they're doing this math equation, which may or may
there's
not
a
really
disconnect.
reflect
Absolutely.
the important thing. And the important thing is, how much is it a month, right? How much do I got to put down, and how much is it a month? And then how much is it going to be going forward, taxes and all that kind of good stuff. But this invisible math equation going on is usually not the most optimal answer,
Right.
right? Or best answer.
Yeah, we try to just create a little bit more bigger pool for the buyers, right? So have affordability options really good in this market.
Yeah, I don't want a buyer to put a potential buyer to sit there and wonder if they can afford it,
Right.
right? Based on points
Right.
and
So whatever. Yeah, just give them a look at it. Okay, this is this.
yeah,
And when you talk to expired listing, right?
yeah,
Part of the reason maybe they're not pricing it right, and they might not want to do a price reduction.
yeah,
So
yeah, yep,
the conversation would be, hey, are you willing for some concessions that will
yeah,
really help the buyer lower their payment? I just did a loan. I just priced a loan, which is amazing, like 400,000 loan amount. If for one about $4,000, you can buy down the rate by half a point. So let's
right.
say 6% to 5.5. That's gonna save them like $130 a month.
Mm,
A lot of people, it's like, it's
yeah,
measurable.
yeah.
It's their Netflix, it's their electricity bill. Like, okay,
Well,
that's
I
where
like
the
you
affordability
know,
comes to play.
well, and that's why I think it'll be interesting to run that idea in an ad even. So when you got a listing that's for
Exactly.
sale, maybe the first week or the second week out, you just run it, default listings to leads text, which works amazing. But try maybe in week two, or try, do a second ad where you put in that the monthly mortgage, right? Kind of like what you
Absolutely.
said
Totally
earlier.
worth it. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna try to mention that in the mastermind group tomorrow, or maybe later this evening. I'll mention that and see if anybody takes us up on that. All right, so we were talking about the postcard campaigns, right? So
Yeah.
again, all the PDF guides, and you could conceivably add 2 to 3 different postcards from the different PDF guides all for sellers, of course. And again, they're going to be right here. And now every postcard, so even the one with the landing page, they've all got, they're called e-flyer for your database, which in this case is a little bit of a misnomer. Right now, you could send this email to your entire database. And actually, I would maybe once or twice a year, because I think I want my seller leads to look to me as the person that people that couldn't sell their home before come to. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're the go-to agent.
I want to be the
Right.
expired king,
Right.
right? I mean, I got that domain, right? Hollywood Hills expiresoldfast.com, or Fountain Hills. I want people to associate that domain with me. So when they know somebody, or maybe themselves, right, and they see my marketing, they're going to come back to me. So my point being, e-flyer for your database. Again, so what we did is we took the copy code into Follow Up Boss. We actually did this in Ricky Caruth's zero to diamond for a client as well. Put this into the email. Now for the emails, in fact, let me go back to Mailbox Power, and I'm going to walk through my saved automation timeline. And if anybody wants to criticize me, they can. And I will also mention, here's another kind of a little bit of a pro tip. Because we're using dynamic images of the property in the postcard, what if the homeowner doesn't live in the property?
Mm.
Well, now they're going to get a postcard and it's of the home they're living in, which was not the expired listing. So we created a second campaign, and DM in this case stands for different mailing. That's just so we know when the mailing address and the property address are different, we drop them in this campaign. And then here we left all the images default. So we didn't add any of the dynamic images.
Can I ask you a question? Does Mailbox, do they automatically identify which one the address don't match?
No,
So
they don't.
oh, they
Unfortunately.
don't. Okay.
Yeah, and that was kind of a bummer because it
Yeah.
would have been great because Redx knows. So Redx will pass that to Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss has it, but Mailbox Power doesn't have the I mean, if somebody finds out that they do, my gosh, let me know, please. But so to solve that for that issue, and this is part of the game, right? You got to figure out sometimes you're trying to accomplish something. What's the best alternative? Well, for us in this case, it was just adding that second campaign. So now in Follow Up Boss, when he pushes it over to Mailbox Power, and it's literally a drop down, right? There's a Mailbox Power in Follow Up Boss. It's a drop down. He selects the campaign, right? DM or regular, and then they're added to that postcard campaign. Yeah. And he adds them to the email campaign, which there's only one because the emails are not doing dynamic images. So once that email campaign was set up in Follow Up Boss, all of the leads coming in from Redx just get added to that automatically.
Mm.
Right. So unless he turns it off, because, as you're calling through Redx, you may talk to somebody and have a great conversation. Not a lot, right? But it happens. So in those cases, he'll push them over and I think uncheck, add to campaign.
So imagine if somebody clicks the QR code, right? Scan it, and immediately you get a notification, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so this is where I recommend people do the follow-up call.
Oh yeah, definitely, of course.
Like, lead engagement follow-up, you got to do it. Like,
Yeah,
right now,
well,
don't you think?
and I want to get back to this a little bit later, but you mentioned about the fact that they scan the QR code. I would, if it was a listing that I was really going after, that I'd really want, I would add them to my account and get that marketing
The
presentation.
custom, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jose from Vegas, how you doing? Awesome, good to see you from Vegas. So here we go. So this was my campaign in Mailbox Power. So I did the expired landing page, and this is it, right? That we saw earlier. That goes out right away. So you'll see here, send immediately. And then the next one I've got going 5 days later, and that is to the PDF guide for the expired listing. So expired listing failed to sell, now what? So that'll go out on day 5. 5 days after that, so day 10, I've got the iBuyer. So it's the iBuyer landing page in listing to leads. It's essentially like a cash offer landing page. And again, you'll see that I've got the image of their home, or if it's going to the DM, right, different mailing, it would just be the general image, dynamic QR code. Then a week later, it's the 100-point home marketing plan. Right. So on the listings dashboard, there's a tab called listing presentation, and this postcard is available there. That's a great one. And a week after that. So this is just, what is your home worth? So that'll be, they can go there and they got the, again, dynamic QR code, street view, photo, PDF guide. So here we got how to sell your home in a changing market. So you get the idea, right? You don't need to come up with a 30 postcard campaign, but if you were to have like 5 to 7 postcards and maybe repeat them. So you do 2 cycles, and then we got about a 60-ish day campaign with about 6 to 8 postcards.
Can I ask you, I have a question.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost for 300, like, just roughly, so people have an idea for one
Oh
postcard
man.
mailing?
Let me go to, I will just
So you
save
give them
projects.
an idea.
So they have, so Mailbox Power is a little bit different. So they're like 150 a month, and then you only pay for the postage. So you're not paying for the
Oh,
cards or anything. Yeah. So for example, I
so, like, how many you can do though? Cool.
can do unlimited.
Oh,
Well, in fact,
that's really good
yeah,
idea.
I think you also get like 500 free a month. So I'm looking at this like, why is that free? So yeah, go whatever postcard company you're going to use. Obviously, get pricing with them. But yeah, so yeah,
That's really good.
yeah, Mailbox Power is
Oh,
kind of cool because they have all these other kind of accoutrements that they blend or that they kind of mix in with their core offering. That's kind of
mm,
cool. Yeah. And so, as we saw with the postcards, every postcard has an email that goes with the postcard. So set up the postcard campaign in whatever platform you're going to use, set up the email campaign, whatever platform you're going to use. And then that way, as the new leads are coming in from RedX or Mailbox Power or My Plus Leads or whatever provider you're using, it's just going to happen automatically. All right. So that is how we're going to bring in people from the cold. There's a few more tools, which we're not going to have. Let me go find that. We're not going to have a lot of time to get into. But for example, the landing page, the PDF guide for the expired, you could upload a custom audience of, let's say there's 2,000 expireds in your area, right? We can't postcard all of them. We can't call all of them, right? Not that easily. We could email all of them, although we might get, spammed or, labeled as spam. One of the things you can do, and with the landing page as well, check this out, objective lead ads. So I can come down here and I can say retarget current leads. And I'm going to say, I want it to go to my, and let's just say this is my expired, my RedX
okay.
expired leads
Mhm.
2024, 2025. So every expired 2024 through now is in this custom audience. So I can run this Facebook ad or any of the other seller Facebook ads for like $2 a day. Daily budget, $2. Maybe I do it for a month. All right. April to May, right? April 2nd to May. Right. Boom, bada bing. Change the image if you want, whatever you want to do there. And then just hit create ad. Boom. There you go. So for $2 a day, whether it's this one, maybe it's the Facebook ad for the landing page, right? You can do the same thing there. We've got Google ads. I don't know. I mean, try it if you want to, right? Google ads are a little bit expensive, 20 to 50 bucks a day. We got everything set up for you. So if you did want to do this, all you have to do is drop in the location, right? Everything is there. A lot of things you can do that you don't really need to worry about. We do have the social media post again for the landing page, for the PDF guide, both for expireds. I would post that once in a while, just again, leaning into the whole idea of I want my audience to think of me when, homes can't sell, right? So when the listing goes expired, nobody wants that. That's like, nobody wants that. So I want them to think of me when, they don't want to have that happen or they know somebody else that it happened to. So we got the short form video script, right? Good stuff there. I would do that once in a while. Print flyers. So again, if you want to go door knocking or go up to the door, or again, you could mail it, right? Postcard door hangers. Again, these are going to be part of automations typically. And same thing with the landing page, all the same tools. Let's
See,
talk about, yes.
I'm thinking a strategy, like if there's a listing you really wanna go after, right? Print
Yeah.
out that, marketing plan in a folder and drop it in their door or in their mailbox, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So now
Well,
you
there are
have
some people like,
custom. presentation for how to sell their home.
Yeah.
The
So
financing sheet at the back, like, wow, this looks phenomenal. People is probably going to be blown away.
no, so check this out. So there's a couple things you can do. So for those expired listings where you're just like, I don't want to lose this. Like if somebody else gets this, I'm going to be so. First of all, you could go to the PDF guides, print the PDF guide, the expired listing failed to sell. Now what? And get that bound nicely. Go to Kinko's, FedEx, whatever local printing company. Just or maybe put it into a folder. I got one. Something like this. Right, that looks good.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah, and you could drop it off. You could FedEx it, right? Make it look nice. You could alternatively come here. So we did this 2 days ago. I haven't heard back on it yet. But so I'll show you it, and then I'll show you how to do it. You see right here, it says expired. This home right here, 7800 Elm Drive, right? Expired. So we added this property to my account as an expired listing. And then that gives me the 26-page PDF. Oh, give me a second there. Let's do that again. When I hit that, my trackpad gets a little bit touchy. And so you hit it wrong and it just blows up the screen. But again, the 26-page PDF, the flip book. And then if I come back here again, the landing page. So all of these, absolutely crazy. And so we came out the PDF guide first, but it's so big that it was hard to email. But it's amazing to print up, like I just showed you. To print this PDF and present this at an open house or the listing presentation is awesome. And where's the landing page? Nope, sorry about that.
Didn't someone also do a mug?
Yeah,
That's
right.
amazing, right? Like a mug with a name.
You know what? Let me go to the mastermind group.
That was so cool.
In fact, I just did like a little mock-up of it. Let me go to expired coffee mug. That was so. I should make a comment if it worked for anybody.
This is amazing. I love it. Look at that thing.
That was so cool. So again, the mastermind group, type in coffee mug, whatever it was I typed in there. Mm-hmm. How cool would that be? I think that'd be cool. And I know a couple of people did it.
Yeah, we'll have to find out how that turned out.
Yeah.
But this is such a great idea.
I think so. Talk about unique. They got a picture of their home right on their coffee mug. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that out. That was so funny. In fact, let me just do this real quick while we're here. I'm going to bump this up.
I love coffee mugs. A lot of people love coffee mugs.
So anyone get a listing from Operation
Coffee Mug.
Coffee mug. And if not, maybe you got to put some coffee in it, right? Like buy some nice, maybe a local brewed made whatever coffee or something. There's so much coffee nowadays. My gosh, it's amazing. And add it with that, right? That might be the trick.
Yeah, totally a great present. People love presentations.
How cool is that? In fact, you know what? That QR code works. I can't remember if it worked off the image here. Yeah, I think right there. Let me see if that even. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, somebody was asking, how do you create this mug?
You know what? In the mastermind group, in that video, I walked through it. And does that work? I can't tell. Hold on, let me see. It's not working for me. But it's not coming up bad either. I just don't think my reflection in the computer. Yeah. But whatever. But it did work, and it was so funny. And again, I know Carrie actually did that with a seller. She had this like expired guy. He'd been expired for a couple of years, and upscale luxury listing, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to sell or not. And she wanted to make sure that if he was going to sell, that he wouldn't go with somebody else. So she did this, and I thought it was a phenomenal. All right, what a way to stand out and provide value in a way that is like, you know what? Yeah, that could sit on my countertop.
Oh, people just think you're a marketing genius when you present that, like, oh my God, I
Yeah,
can trust this person to sell my home.
especially if they like coffee.
Or if they don't, it's still too cute.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Y-
yeah, so Larry says, so to the photo of the home, well, if you do the postcards in Mailbox Power with a dynamic image, then no, you don't, right? Because they will dynamically take grab the Google Street View. That'll be what shows up there. If you want to do the one where it's a little bit of the I want this listing, like, so this is a unique listing. I want this listing. I don't, if somebody else got it, I would not be happy about it. Not that I would be about any listing, I guess, but you know what I mean, right? It's on my short list. So for that one, what I would more likely do is come in here and go to add listing manual. And I want to create that expired marketing plan so that I can share the flip book, I can share the landing page. And then later on, I can go, whether I mail it or face to face, I present the
marketing plan.
well, yeah, the paper version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can create your own photo.
Yes. So here, all you got to do is go to change the status, drop down to expired. You're going to add in the name, right? Expired. With the email, excuse me, phone number. The only other thing you have to do is a couple of things: street, city, state, zip, save down here, and add the photo on the next page. And so I was mentioning earlier, so I was with a client, today's Wednesday, it must have been Monday, 2 days ago. And he was like, oh my God, Scott, I want to get this expired listing. And so I found a great photo of it. And it wasn't from the listing agent. It just happened to be online. And so we added it. Like I said, I can't wait to hear from him, see if he was able to get that. Because he said the guy's on the DNC, the email was bad or something. He goes, you know, it was a bad email, but he goes, he knows the address and he goes, I really want that listing. And so this is what we did. And from that, again, right, he's got the landing page. So he could take this URL and send it to them. We got the flip book. This is phenomenal. This is great to present when you're in front of them and you get, whether on a tablet or maybe your laptop. This is great.
Yeah. Also, if you go through towards, I don't know, maybe page 7 or 8, you can show them, you can scan that QR code and goes to the single property website.
Yeah. So either one of these right here. So I guess that's 15, 16. Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah, on the flip book it's 7, 8. So, but yeah, right here, right. Again, so just like in the coffee mug, let's see if this works. So everybody pull out your phone, scan the QR code. Boom. Yeah. I mean, oh, see, this is why, right? Another client I was talking to, he's like, yeah, he goes, I just sent this and they listed. Yeah, because it's like, seriously, no, he didn't say they scanned the QR code, but you know, I'm sure that was part of it. But yeah, right. So my goal, what I would do, I think, depending, like if I talk to them, I might just send them this link right here. You know, I might just say, hey, you know what? I really want your business. And I prepared this, you know, marketing plan for you, and, you know, include the link in the email to them. If it was like, I really wanted that listing and it was like, man, this would really just, you know, be a beautiful thing, I might print it up, right? And I might FedEx it to them.
Yeah.
Now you're spending 40, 50 bucks between printing and mailing. So it's got to be worth it, right? You want to, you know, don't go broke doing that too many times. So, you know, pace yourself on that one. And again, that's why we got the link, right? So easy to send to somebody in the email. They're going to be impressed. And maybe tell them, hey, when you get to page, you know, the 7th or 8th page, which comes up here as page 15, just tell them, hey, whip out your phone and scan that. Let me know what you think, because we are ready to start marketing your property now with all
Yeah.
the tools that you see here. Right. And that's
Most
where you got to have the confidence as an agent, because this is, once you've got this prepared, everything in it's prepared.
Right.
Yeah. There's
Nobody
nothing
can be nobody. You just be the competition, period.
Oh yeah. I don't
And
think I've heard from anyone that's lost when they present this.
yeah, and the other thing is when you have the address, right? So it's expired listing.com, that URL, it has the address on it.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. In fact,
The vanity URL, which is super cool.
no. Yeah, right here. Hold on. Because I was talking to somebody today, and I mentioned this to them and I was saying how we don't need, we gotta, so
Yeah,
if you're presenting this, keep in mind right here, we give that domain, right? So check this out. The listing address for this expired listing is 7800 Elm Drive, Folsom, California. Look at that domain, 7800 Elm Drive .worldsbestlisting.com. I mean, come on.
I
Right?
surrender.
I mean, are you kidding me? Like that is, and then when they scan the QR code, for all those of you that scan the QR code, go back and look at the domain that came up on. Right? Look at that domain that's on your phone. 7800 or whatever it is here. Yeah. Worldsbestlisting.com.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's funny, I'm glad you mentioned that, because like I said, I literally was pointing that out to somebody for the same reason. I'm like, we do an awful job. We really need to do something here to highlight that a little bit better on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Can you tell somebody?
Everything's meticulously thought of when we do,
Yeah.
this marketing materials.
Yep. Exactly. All right. So we've talked through how do you attract expired. So again, there's currently in your area hundreds of people whose homes have expired in the last 12 months. Those are all fair game for you to go after. All right. Whether you're going to use a Red X, Mailbox, My Plus Leads, Prospect Boss, there's a lot of other services out there to get this kind of information. I would think about doing a batch kind of start in the beginning, where we're going to take, maybe we take the 300 people that we can afford on a monthly basis to set them up in a postcard campaign, an email campaign, and that we're going to be able to call through. Right now, we can call through more of them if we want to. We could take all 2,000, right? However many they are. We can add them as a custom audience in Facebook. In fact, let me show you. If you have your database or you've got a CSV file from, I'm sorry?
Yeah, exactly. Show
In
us.
fact, our support just did this for a client today. So if you need to, you can send it to us and our support team will do this. In fact, we did this today for a client where we took all of the data for out of Red X. It's like 4,000 contacts. But what's weird? Out of 4,000 contacts, only 2,800 got matched, which also that seems kind of low, but whatever. So right here I'm sorry.
Only 28 got matched to what?
No, 2,800. So we uploaded so right here in listings to leads. Let me go back to that. So in listings to leads in the ads tab, there's a button called create audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so check this out. I can say expired Folsom, or just say expired
Alton Hill
area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Red X 2025. Right. Well, some do this too. I'll do March or April. Goodness. I always put when I pull it and when I add it, just so that way, come June or July, when I'm looking at this, I'll go, oh, that's from April. Maybe I'll update it. So, right, give your audience a name. So I might say, hey, you know what? I'm going to pull all of those expireds out of Red X. I'm going to upload them right here in the format of email, phone number, first name, last name. Again, our support team can help you with that if you need, but it's really super easy, right? You're just going to click import and create. We're going to send it to Meta for you. And now, like I showed you earlier in this call, right? So for example, create a Facebook ad, landing page ad, and let's do an expired ad, right? Remember that expired landing page that we created?
Mm-hmm.
And oh, there's that 121 Tomlinson. So I'm not going to run an ad to a specific, but I'll do a Facebook. In fact, I'll do traffic. It could be a lead ad. And it can take a couple of hours. It can take a couple of days. Again, we're not going to use location and just do retarget. And again, so that audience was not a real custom audience. So I can't type in that name to have it come up. But so there's my custom audience of expired homeowners. And then I'm just going to change lifetime to daily. And so this way, I'm just going to stay in front of these people because who knows when they're going to pop. Hit create ad. And I've got for $2 a day, I've got any one of, and in fact, for one client, we turned on 2 ads. We're running the 100% home marketing plan. And I think maybe the cash offer, I can't remember, but we're running 2, it's expired and the 100% home marketing plan to his expired audience.
So can you go back? You said, only 2,800 match. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So let's say in RedX, and this was another client. Don't take this as this is how it is. It was just his situation. So his CSV file had 4,000, it's like 4,700 something or other.
Yeah.
And then by the time we uploaded it into Facebook or Meta, and they go through and what they do is they take the contact information, right? Name, email, phone number, and then they try to find the Facebook profile that matches it.
Oh.
And so every time they do that, now they've matched it. And then that person is now in your custom audience.
Got it. Some of them now have a Facebook profile.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or some have a different phone number now, a different email.
So those people will be part of your, postcard campaign, all that stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Well, think of it this way. So in your entire sales area, there are 5,000 expireds, right? So again, pull all 5,000, as many as you can get a hold of, upload them as a custom audience, and we can cheaply and easily stay in front of them like I'm showing you here. Yeah. Then you're going to take your top 300, right? Whatever that means for you. That might be by geography. That might be by price point. That might be by whatever. Those we're going to add into our postcard campaign. Right. So those will be on our postcard campaign. And our email, you might have to be a little bit careful of just because of, cold spam. Right. So a lot of email providers, you're going to be limited on, spamming people that have never asked to hear from you. Right. That's why they got the do not call. That's why they got spam folders. And that's why these tools come into play, because these tools are going to allow that engagement, right? And that two-way process to start happening, right? Here's an offer for a review of why your home didn't sell. Here's an offer for a PDF guide about why homes don't sell and what you can do about it. Here's a different guide. Here's a different offer, right? That we went through with the postcards. And so that's the name. So again, we're talking about social media, postcard, and then your email.
The name of the game is just try all these different methods. You have more contacts.
The name of the game is stay on top of it on a daily basis, right? Know who you're going to call, have the automation set up. So get into the mastermind group, right? We'll try to help you out as much as possible. Get your postcard campaign set up, get the email campaign set up, and then just on a daily basis, drop the new leads into it. And then when you see an address, right, when you see a property, and then that property is right, that that would be an A+ listing. That's a listing again that we really want to get. Let's add them to your listings to leads account as the expired status, right? Because again,
the whole marketing, for that specific property, which is even more powerful.
Yep. And then lastly here, but almost 6 o'clock, I don't want to keep people long, but talk to your lender, find out about affordability, right? Have that idea in your mind of, we're not always going to just talk about interest rates. We're not going to rely on other people to educate potential home buyers about what they can and can't afford. Because essentially you're leaving that conversation up to other people that you have no control over. And that may be one of the most important conversations out there is, what can you afford? No, really. right now, what can you afford? Oh, 3.5% or 8%, or too high, too low, when none of that really addresses the fundamental question.
Right.
What's that check look like every month that I'm writing?
Yeah, there's also one, I'm not gonna go into the rabbit hole, but, there what if the house that's not sold, the expired one
Mm.
could be a FHA, VA, they have, like, a 3% assumable loan, so that's another jam that a lot of realtors don't understand or don't know. So,
So what
because
do
a
they
lot
do
of
then?
those is assumable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, the buyer could assume that loan at 3%. Can you imagine that?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, wow. Right. That'd be good.
That's a good conversation to have, you at least get some knowledge.
Right, 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 right. Would you, Larry? Thank you, Kathleen. Kathleen, where are you coming in from? Larry says 171 on Monday EXP. Would you cancel the same way? What do you mean by that? I mean, yeah, cancel listings, expired listings, withdrawn listings,
So the
you
same,
know, pardon me?
are they all similar?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, they may be different things in different areas technically. So, but yeah, I mean, any listing that comes off the market, always as appropriate, as is legal. Um, you know,
You know
if well, and sometimes like I remember this happened one time. I remember with David one time. There was an expired listing. All right. So the listing expired, but it was one of those things where, the seller had been traveling for a long time. They hadn't done any marketing on it.
mhm.
It just went expired. Every intention was to go right back with the listing agent, like in June or, a few months later. So, even though the listing expired, the seller had every intent to go back with the agent. The seller told a few other agents that called that story, right? Listen, it wasn't bad. We weren't marketing it because I've been traveling, and so we're going to relist it. And man, there were some agents that were really making asses of themselves. And I go, on one hand, you would say, well, but everything's fair in love and war. But on the other hand, it's like, man, do you really want to act
Would you
like,
work with the other agent? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Especially when the seller literally told you why it went expired and what they're planning on doing. They were nice enough to do that, but yet, you know,
Move on.
yeah. So I always say, just pay attention, right? Be appropriate.
Mm.
There are some battles that you may not want to, whatever. So, but if you don't know, then you don't know. All right, everybody, listen. Oh, yeah. So can I send the same thing to cancel? I think so. I think so. LA Powerhouse Realtor. All right, Los Angeles is massive. What part of LA are you from? Right, LA. In fact, what's funny? I don't even know if that home, for some reason, in my account, when I go to expired landing pages,
Uh-huh.
I got a couple from the LA area, right? Santa Monica. Um, Let me see here. If I go filter, expired. So yeah, Hollywood Hills, Santa Monica, Longboat, that's Sarasota.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fountain Hills, that's Arizona.
Mm.
Yeah. Whitney Oaks, that's nothing. Anyways, all right. Are we good? Everybody, I would love feedback. Get into the mastermind group or leave a comment under this video if you don't mind. Let us know your feedback. I want
And
to
we
do,
also
yeah.
we also love great success stories. So if you start today and keep us posted of any success that you have with the expired listings.
Yeah, for sure.
And
For
the
sure.
challenges you have, whatever, like you want to make it better, it will make it easier for everyone. If you find some tricks that you want to share, please do post that on Mastermind Group. Really appreciate that. We want to make this easy, better for everyone. We want to get you guys get a lot more listings.
Yeah, and eventually we'll turn this more into a little bit of a mastermind as well, get more
Yeah.
feedback and more two-way interaction going. So
Cool.
with that, thank you everybody for joining us. I'm going to post, next week, actually, I want to get into cash offer. I made a post in the mastermind group and I was actually shocked at how many people were locked up on a cash offer value proposition because they just didn't know who would buy it and they didn't know how to do all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to walk through some paid, some local free, some different opportunities and different ideas around being able to make a cash offer so that you can have that in your arsenal to engage, talk to, and generate seller leads. Because if you're not giving a cash offer to people, it's just another conversation that you're missing out on.
Another repertoire.
Yeah, another, right? All right.
Yeah.
What's the number one tool we should be using? Oh man, I don't know. See, I hate that question.
What was the question again?
What's the number one tool we should be using?
For expired?
I want to say all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, just really, it's not about that any one thing. For example, real quickly here, and I know you hate when I do this, don't you? One more thing, but seriously, one more thing. If you go to the blog, I recently did a couple of posts. In fact, I think the top 3, well, maybe all of them, but the last 3 are really good. So 10 videos for seller leads when your listing goes into contract. All right. Instagram stories, 5 stories in 5 days, all with polls and links. So to the question of like, well, what tools should I be using? And, these stories and the previous one integrate listings to leads, because it's one thing to have visibility. It's one thing to, be in a video, but it's another thing to engage people and to have something of value to offer people, not every single time, but to at least be able to have that capability. And so here, for example, some great story ideas, and I give you the polls. I give you a video on how to do this if you don't know. And so,
Question
Carolina, I just
expired or just like engagement in general?
I just think just do a little bit every day. Pay attention to what works and what doesn't work. Do more of what works and less of what doesn't work. But you always want to make sure that you give things a fair shake. Like doing video. You may suck at doing video for a year, but you'll get better, if you pay attention and you're consistent with it and everything like that. And just find new places like this example right here. I bet none of you, how many people here on this call? All right, we still got a few people on the call. How many of you have ever done 5 stories in 5 days on one listing, right? Where you're including a poll, where you're including a link right to the single property website, to different landing pages. I bet none of you have. And so again, what is this? This is just another way to increase our visibility, to have conversations, to create conversations with our audience, and to create engagement. And so as you come up with new ideas, as we come up with new ideas of how to intermix and change up and move things around here, like, look at that. That's awesome, right? So this right here.
This is so great. I love this one. I was talking to someone, like people walking through the homes, doing a little virtual tour. It's kind of like a little bit stale nowadays. But with this kind of interaction, it's a different game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what's so great about that blog post. So in the blog post here, right? So day 1. So today is what, Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. See, unless you're in the East Coast, it's 9:00. You got time. So day 1 is Wednesday. So we're going to do the front of the house, right? Front of the house. The poll you're going to add. And if you don't know how to do this, there's a video right on this page right here. I walk you through how to do this. So the poll is this, and there's always 2 responses for buyers, 1 for seller. And then I give you a suggested link of, well, what link should you add to this? And they're all from listings to leads. So that's a single property website. Story number 2, we're going to highlight the kitchen. Here's the poll related to the kitchen. Here's a link, right? So in this case, 6 things to check before buying a home. That's just a little bit of where it is in the listings leads account. And you get the idea. Day 3 is the living room. Day 4, primary bedroom, bath. Day 5 is the backyard. If you need to move things around, change it up, miss something, add something, do it. But try and use your imagination, right? Use your skills and your artistry. What 5 stories, right? What 5 images for my listing can I highlight this week? And, as I always say, use our stuff either verbatim, word for word, or just as inspiration, but do it. Doing it's the key.
Yeah. If you have no imagination, just follow the script.
Yeah, if you got no mad, or you're just starting off and it's like, you know what, I'd rather spend my time actually doing it versus thinking about it. So let me just
Exactly.
use what you've got to get going. And then the next time you go through it, you might be a little bit more, you know,
Less
imaginative. And
intimidated.
yeah, yeah. Hey, we all got enough problems. I don't need more problems. So,
Trust me, everybody when they start like learning stuff, oh my God, you get so overwhelmed. But you can
oh yeah.
follow. I trust me, you can follow this. You can do it.
Well, you know what's so funny? So when I was door knocking today. So I mentioned earlier, I was
Yeah.
door knocking with one of my clients, one of our clients, and she's like,
Was she
she's
nervous?
pardon me?
Was she nervous?
Was she nervous about what?
Door knocking.
No, she's a pro.
Oh.
And she's a grandmother
Oh
of
wow.
she takes care of 3 grandkids. And I asked, I was like, you know, it's kind of it was 10, we met at 11:30 on a today, Wednesday. And I said,
Hmm.
it was kind of an odd time to go door knocking. And she goes, well, I got 3 grandkids I take care of. And so this is really the only time I do have. Um, and she goes, you know, older people are really more my client. But, you know, she's an older lady. And she goes, older people are really more my, you know,
Client base.
my avatar.
Uh-huh.
And they're home at this time anyways. And it
Right.
was so right. We literally talked to maybe 3 to 5 people. Well, she did. I just was kind of walking with her, you know, and yeah, I talked to 3 to 5 people. We did the nearby homeowner letter on all the doors. We had the plastic bags with the little holes, so we, you know, put them on the door where people didn't answer. One, oh my gosh, there was one. She, she rang the doorbell, and it must have been a mastiff behind that door,
Oh.
because the sound that it made when it hit the door, I was standing probably 20 or 30 yards away on the street, you know, just
And you
kind of
can hear
off
it.
a little bit. I about jumped. I was like, holy, you know,
That is
just
so
has that
funny.
sound, right? Of like
Yeah, yeah. Oh my
300
God.
pounds of muscle just banging against that door. And I was
They
like,
should have that sign, dog, yeah, dog be aware.
what? they they did have a sign,
Oh,
and she was a little bit sheepish about it afterwards, because, you know, I'm doing whatever. I look over and I see her, and she's kind of scuffling a little bit faster than normal. And I was like, well, I'm glad you're in one piece, because the way that sounded, you know, good. Okay. But she's like, oh my God. She goes, I didn't even see it said no solicitors on the door. And normally she
oh,
wouldn't knock if it had that sign on there.
yeah, yeah.
And not many of them did. She goes, there are some neighborhoods where, you know, almost half of them do. But, and anyway, so she was like, so many of them didn't. So she wasn't really paying attention. And all of a sudden that one home. And so she was like, I just want to get out of here. Oh
So
my
funny.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was
that's
kind of
fun.
funny. But yeah, no, it was kind of cool. I remember it was an older lady again, you know, in her 70s. They had a nice conversation for a quick minute. Um, there was a guy who was also in real estate at some point who knew the property that was having the open house. Um, Man, and there's like 1 or 2 more people as well, I know for sure. But like, I wasn't really, like I said, I didn't want to be like kind of some weirdo behind her while she was talking to people. So she would go to knock on the door. I would just kind of go to the next house and just kind of wait around a little bit until she was done. So there might have been a few more that I missed.
Mm.
Anyways, sorry to keep everybody so
Yeah,
long.
we just wanna tell people, don't be afraid of doing these things.
Yeah.
It's a learning
Well,
curve for a lot of people, but you gotta
and
do
for
it somehow.
sure.
Gotta learn it. Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what she said. And I was like, you know what? I agree with you 100% when she said this. And that is, when people get to meet me, I will get the business most of the time. And
Mm,
that's what's in the open house, right? We talk about why open houses are so important,
yeah,
is because when people get to meet you and they realize, hopefully, that you're a professional, you're a nice person, all that good stuff, they're going to do business with you, right? If they trust you, you're professional, all that. But getting to meet you is the biggest problem. And so, you know, for her to go door knocking, I was like, damn, that's very cool. And so here, right, we got the print flyers. I was trying to find it, but you saw the print flyers earlier. So we
Mhm.
got the print flyers. Print that up and go drop by an expired and just say, hey, I saw that your home expired and I want to give you some information. Maybe do the print flyer for the PDF guide. Maybe it's for the landing page, but it gives you a reason to talk to them.
Yeah, and present a mug too.
Damn, right? If it's good enough, yeah. No, the only thing about the coffee mug is the one I found took 21 days to get shipped.
Uh,
So, yeah, I know, right? It's like, do I really want to wait that long? Or maybe it's 14, but it's a little longer than it wasn't next day, unfortunately.
okay,
All
it's
right, thank you everybody for joining us. We'll talk to you later. Get into the mastermind group if we can be of any help. We'll talk to you then.
Have a great night. Thank you, guys.